Hello, hello. All right. What a fun day I've been having. I've been trying to, I've been trying to get a dev server up and running. And last stream, I was struggling with some SSH stuff. I think I finally have fixed it. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can create a new workspace for, we don't need this. I need to log into my dev environment, open and paste, continue, sign in. And then once I do this, I have a, there's like a million Docker tests and stuff that I've been doing this morning trying to get this working, but I think I finally got it working. So what I want to do is, where is Kingdom by the Sea? One of these is Kingdom by the Sea. Okay, I'm going to stop this, and I need to find here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this project. And we're just going to recreate it. And what I need to do is go into the workspace here. There should be Kingdom by the Sea. And we're just going to rename this back. Because I'm going to try out this new modular Docker template that I've been working on to see if I can get this sort of up and running. So where's my modular Docker template? We're going to call this Kingdom by the Sea. We don't need to auto-generate anything. I am going to set the port to, I don't know, I think maybe 85. Actually, we'll just do this on 100. And I'll do this on 2100. There we go. Although, actually, yeah, this is fine. And then I'm going to delete this because we don't need a startup command. So basically what this should do now is it should create a new Docker container with Node installed, and it's a really bare bones one because I've been starting this one from scratch. But the key is that I can actually now SSH into it through Visual Studio Code, and I can use Git, which was the big problem that I've been having this entire time. So I'm going to create this workspace real quick, and while that's going on, I am going to go to Visual Studio Code. Yeah, cool, that didn't work. Of course it wouldn't work. External connect to endpoint. Oh, someone must be using this port. All right, fine. So let's do general. Actually, let me do this. Coder. I just gotta stop all these. Or actually, I don't even need any of these anymore. Delete. We'll do a little bit of housekeeping here. Yeah, it took so long to figure this out. I was hoping, well, so I set up this whole Coder dev environment, so I have my own sort of like cloud dev environment. But the trying to share like SSH keys and getting all this stuff set up, this isn't my strong suit, this DevOps stuff, so it's just been a bit of a grind. Let's delete. I'm just going to try to delete all these so that, wait, are they not deleting? All right, I think the page was just getting cached. Delete. Oh, I see. It doesn't actually delete them until it's like, it doesn't remove them from the list until they're fully shut down, which is fine. And then this blog generator is for a different project. These are all different projects, fine. All right, so now we're gonna come back here, and I'm gonna set this to 08. I'm gonna make it 5. 2225 will be the port for this. Everything else seems correct. And now let's restart this container and see if it'll actually build. And while that happens, I'm going to, I didn't pull up my, my messages for anyone who's chatting here, so I can see what people say. All right, I think we're good to go now. All right, so I now need to go to GitHub, and I am looking for Kingdom by the Sea. Kingdom by the Sea. And we will check this out the good old-fashioned way. But actually, before I do that, what I want to make sure is that if I go to the logs, I should now have all the information I need to SSH into this container. So what I've been playing around with is this thing here. I don't need these tunnels, where you basically SSH into, let me get rid of this. Don't need this either. You SSH into, at least in my case, I'm SSHing into my development container. And from there, Visual Studio Code is going to act as if it's running locally. So previously I had this like really hacky system going on. I'm going to call this Kingdom by the Sea. I had this really hacky system going on where I was using Visual Studio Code locally. The reason I'm using this was a Copilot. I can't figure out how to get Copilot or something like it running on my server just yet. So then I was loading the server's drive locally using Visual Studio with that. But then when I need to run commands, I had to go back over to the server, and it just was a big sort of pain. But now, if this works correctly, we should save this. And now I can connect to this container remotely. Yes, I want to continue. Let me go get the password, which is randomly generated anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Plus all this stuff is hopefully behind my own. Confirm, enter your password. This is like a weird one where I've seen this happen before, where sometimes it doesn't work the first time. Cool. This has been my morning and most of yesterday, is just trying to get this to work in a consistent way. And it's not easy. The platform I'm on is Linux. Kingdom by the Sea, fingerprint. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. I will add in my password, and hopefully it takes it this time. Hey, look, it worked. I don't know what that is with Visual Studio Code. Like the first time, it doesn't seem to take it. This will be stored in the setting. Yeah, I don't need this. That's fine. What I want to check though is SSH git at github.com, and if I enter in my key, which is now being copied from my server over, I can now authenticate. Woo! That was 2 days of just utter fun. Can't even describe how much fun it is. So okay, now what I'm doing is the interesting thing is that now that I'm SSH into this Docker container, if I go and I try to like open into the password, I need to go back and enter my password. Where was my password? All right. Yes, trust the authors, and we're going to open up Workspace. And cool, here we are. All right. What was just happening was that when you go to when you SSH in, you go to open it, now it's just showing me everything that's on in the container, my little dev environment here. So what winds up happening is that you can just open up any of these folders, but it sometimes just asks for a password again. And now we can go to terminal, new terminal. ls. Let's do this. I want to do git clone, and let's copy over this repo. And we're going to set this up a little bit differently this time. We're going to call this front end. So what I've been trying to do now is I've been trying to build out these dev containers where I have like a front end folder, which is my front end stuff, and then I have a back end folder for just SQLite, because I've been sort of going back and forth over different databases, and I haven't found one that's like easy, like not easy, but is like simple enough for just quick iteration. SQLite is like basically it. So what I'm doing is trying to now package this into all my dev environment setups. So now we've checked this out, and what I want to do, and we'll have Copilot do this while I go through and look at some other stuff, and I'll just I'll get the textures and everything up and running. Although now I'm trying to think of like, how am I going to do textures? I don't know if I can. Oh, I need to check out. Oh, I forgot how to do this. Let's see. Well, let's test if this can do it. What branch is this? It's 2.1. Can you check out branch v0.2.1 for me? The directory found is not recognized as a git. Oh, sorry. CD front end. Oops, I've switched the layers on my keyboard. Okay, CD front end. What is going on here? CD front end. Does it not? No such file or directory. Ah, I called it font end. Ugh, what a morning. Front end. Okay. Now CD front end clear, and now rerun this. Okay. So now we should have all of our assets. So what I'm thinking about is I'm wondering, how do I open this? Configure default editor for ASAP. Yeah, so I don't think there's a way of me actually. Yeah, the only way for this to work is going to be for me to download it and then re-upload it. So this is going to be fun, but it's fine. We'll just do download here. I don't even know where I want to put this. I guess I'm just going to go back to. You know what? We're just going to do this a little bit backwards. I'm just going to load the artwork up from the server directly, and then I don't have to deal with this like round robin stuff. So let's open up this. Okay. While I sort of get this organized and explain it, I want to have GitHub. Okay. Now that I've checked my project out, can you refactor it so that there is a package in the root of the project that automatically loads up runs the front end Vite server based on the port I pass in env variable. Via a run npm run debug. Or to run is it run builds? What do I do? What have I done in the past here? Coder. Cool. I don't remember. dev. That's what it was. Run dev. All right, let's see if this can refactor this project now and get all of this running. I've had really bad luck with GPT 4.1 in Copilot. For some reason, wait, install Vite and dev directory into front end. Run the terminal. I ran this already. npm install. Wait, is npm not working? Yeah. npm install. Is this not working? Package. See, look at this. It added Vite, but then it did this 3 times and told me it couldn't figure it out. So, all right, we've already established this. I ran. Let's see. But your actual front-end directory is named. Why? Oh, I think I must have. Because I spelled this wrong. What did I do? Font. End. Front end. There we go. That was fixed. The reason why I was using this GPT 4.1 is that it's basically free and included in this. Great, your setup is not correct. You can now run the front end from the root. But I don't want to do it that way. What I want to figure out, let me see if I can get this real quick. I do think that I'm passing in the port. Let me look at this modular template. Don't I pass this port in? Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna get this. I'm just trying to get this to reproduce, or at least be able to reproduce. Keep restarting it and stopping it, because this is sort of a critical piece of testing. So let's. Oh, that's gonna be fun. All right, it's now configured. The port supply Vite will run on that port. No further action is needed. Okay. So what we're going to do is this now. We're going to go to the settings, and in my parameters, I'm going to add in this start command. But before I do that, I want to see if Kingdom by the Sea works. Cool. So that works, and I just need the I just need the password, which I've already lost. That's fine. I'm going to restart it anyway. So let's just do the settings, parameters. We're going to set this up as dev. We're going to submit this and restart. I don't know what this is going to do to me being logged in on SSH or SSH'd in. I'm assuming that once SSH comes back on, it's just going to ask me to re-authenticate, because every time I restart the container for sort of security, especially during these streams, so I'm not just streaming real passwords, it randomly generates new passwords every time. Let's see. Send a message you can just see initializing. Enter the password. Great. Here's my password. And hopefully this works. Reload window. I need to enter the password. Here we go. Perfect. All right. So I've reloaded it. Now the real question is, let's do this. This is the password. I think it's just Jesse. There we go. Look at that. It actually works. So here's where I left off. Let me do this too. Get instructions. Why are you not giving? I'm probably Git commands because my actions only updated files directly in your workspace. They don't run Git commands. No, I don't understand Copilot. Like I give it these instructions and it just basically chooses to ignore it anyways. So there's no point in me doing this. Git add. Wait, I need to just git status. This isn't a directory. I need to go into front end. Okay, I see what I need to do. I think I sort of screwed this up because I think what I need to do in order to really get this to work, we're going to try. Wait, okay. I messed this up. How can I move the entire contents of front end, including the Git repo, into a folder how can I restructure this project so the Git repo is in the root and I retain the front end folder plus the package file at the root. To restructure your project so that the Git repository is at the root, move all the contents from front end except its own Git, if present, into the root if you need to, but keep the folder structure as you want. If your Git folder is inside a front end, move to the root into the root. This will make your root directory the Git repository with the front end as a sub folder. Okay, let's try this. All right, and then now we're going to do git status, git add, and then unable to auto-detect email address. That stinks. That wasn't... This is supposed to be passed in, but it's fine. jessefreeman@gmail.com. I will make a note for myself. Git creds. Docker container. All right. These credentials are supposed to be passed in, but they aren't. So that's fine. Actually, I think I have to put these in. I think this has to be a string. Wait, did I not paste this correctly? Yeah, username. How do I fix? Globally. All right. To fix the name of the email for the previous email, do git amend author no edit fine, and then git status. God, at some point I need to set up the server to block the spam stuff. Wait. Your branch have diverged and have 1 and 1 different commits each respectively. Okay. This is... Now how do I fix... Your local branch have diverged, meaning both are of unique commits. You have 2 main options. Merge the changes into your branch. This will merge the remote changes. Overwrite the remote. Yeah, I want to overwrite the remote. All right, so now if we go back to GitHub, we refresh, or just go to the right branch, we should now see a front-end folder and the packages, and Bob's your uncle. All right, that is good. So I think at this point now, I finally have this server set up. And now it's a matter of building out the textures. So there are a bunch of different textures that I'm going to need, and I want to figure out a good way to do this. So let's start a new chat here. And can you go through the game code and propose a list of all the tile textures I'll need to create? Take into account that some tiles, like farms, take a day to build and can have a person in them, so that would be 3 tiles. Same with buildings, chopping down forests, etc. And all of this code is pretty much in here. Do I have constants for? No, I don't have constants for this stuff yet. Here's the game main render rules. Stats, tile atlas. I guess it's probably part of the tile atlas. Also check the game logic to cross reference and confirm we can account for everything. Put this task list in the docs folder at the root of the project as a MD file, so I can check off each tile as I implement them. I actually want this to do this correctly, so I'm just going to switch over to Claude. And while this figures this out, I'm going to take a quick break, just change my desk so I can sit down, and then we'll basically what I'm having Copilot do is I'm having to just go through the project, figure out all the tiles that we need right now, and then I'm going to make a task list so that I can just build them all. So I will be right back. All right, and I'm back. Let's go find some other music. So this is a common technique that I use now with Copilot, where I ask it to go through my code, and then I have it generate out like markdown files. One, so that it has like historical knowledge, so I don't have to keep like telling it like go through and read all this stuff. I can be like, okay, we'll go look at this markdown file, or here's the plan I want to build, make it a task list, outline the plan, and then as we go through and we fix things, just mark things off on the tasks. While this happens, I can then have it just generate out a markdown file, and I don't think it's created it yet. It's still going through and trying to read through everything. So I have a feeling like its list is incorrect because I don't know if it actually implemented everything from scratch. Basically, I had taken a game design document that had all this detail. I gave it into ChatGPT 5 to see what it would do, and it came up with a pretty decent engine. So from there, I started building this 3D world around it because I was really interested in. I've always loved Final Fantasy Tactics sort of graphics, and that's what I was sort of going for here. And every time you rerun the map, it creates new maps and generates out things. So I can hide the fog of war. These are mountains, T are trees. I have these billboards, they call them, where it's just like a single 2D texture that sort of follows the camera. I was trying to figure out if I could do trees or something with it, but we're going to need to figure that out later. And then I can also come in here and edit these and figure out, you know, what I want, or I can just start building. So what I was doing is just cutting down the trees. So there's like a whole like system in here that still needs to be like balanced. All right, so the atlas structure of the game uses a 20 side faces, letters on colors development, and final art with fog overlays. The game has several dynamic states, instruction states, discovery fog, building progression, there are complex upgrade chains, special mechanics, farm synergy. I hate the word synergy. Bonuses when adjacent to other farms, forest clearing produces wood and reduces height, coastal detection for dock placement, select indication, and progress bar. Generally can include approximately 85 to 100 individual tile graphics covering all the states. Okay, let's simplify this and just focus on the core tiles, not the debug and not the fog of war. The FOW fog of war should just be done programmatically. All right, now that reminds me that what I need to do is come in here and create an issue that the fog of war should only be on land, which I think I've already fixed, but let's do fog of war should be programmatic. Don't use tiles for fog of war. Let's use shading in real time to represent that. All right, we're going to make this a enhancement, and we'll create some more issues, I'm sure. All right, so now I'm going to have it distill this stuff down. And what I'm going to do is I want to make a single tile sheet. I was trying to combine them just to make it easier, which is why I have these like, these different like rows, but I'm going to fix this. column 7. I don't think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, there's 7. All right, this approach keeps the essential visual variety while making the art implementation much more manageable. The different building types, hothouse manager can use the same base building tile, programmatic overlays, or simple spray, rather than complex separate tiles. I don't know if I agree with that, but that's fine. We can burnt land, deep water, coastal water, grass, forest, mountains. All right, so what was the total? Construction in progress. Selection and feedback. Simplified implementation of notes. All right, let's see if its approach sort of works. I want to change it though. Just trying to think through some things here. Let me open up. I think it's in my other server. Projects. No, it's in design, art packs, staging, Dragon Warrior. I don't think I. Where's background here? Oh, okay, I do have it here. I think what I'm going to actually do. Let me ask it what it thinks. We don't need to waste credits on this. What if I have separate textures for each tile? Will that be too much to load? I mean, these tiles are 16 by 16, so every tile instead of a single atlas is possible, but it has trade-offs. Easier to update swap tiles. No need to manage atlas coordinates performance. Each tile uses a separate HTTP request. More textures means more GPU draw calls. Switching textures per tile can increase draw calls. For small games, loading 20 to 30 separate 16-bit images is manageable, but the best performance and scalability is a single atlas is preferred. Use separate textures, consider preloading them and batch drawing them. So how about this? When they are loaded, build a single texture and reference that. So basically what I want to do is if I want to make this more manageable for me. So I want to keep all the textures completely separate, and then I can have as many tiles as I want inside of the texture, but I can but then I can have it build out this atlas for me. So single atlas, a texture canvas, reference tiles, coordinates. Preload all tile images with the image objects. Draw each image. Use the atlas. Okay. So let's do this. Well, I'm gonna set it on a task. All right. Can you update the docs to reflect this and start building out the preload system? We'll need a JSON file to store all of the textures and a map for which tile is which in the texture that is loaded. So water would be its own JSON object with a path to the texture and some kind of UID mapping system to reference internally while you to generate out the single texture atlas. The reason why I was switching over to this project here is that this is an old, this is actually the graphics that I wanted to use for this project, more or less. And what I'm thinking of doing right now is just, I'm going to pull some stuff out of here and I want to see if I can map it, but this one is the most important one. And the reason why is I want to get the engine to start doing these, bit masks, where basically it will automatically pattern the texture based on which angle it's at. So I don't know how far we're going to be able to get with it, because this isn't a standard format and I need to figure out how to remap it. I have code around here somewhere that does this stuff. I think I even wrote a course on it for LinkedIn. So, all right. Oh, no. Stop. Okay. For right now, use the existing texture map and its tiles for the JSON. Put placeholders for the tiles we haven't mapped yet for debug and FOR versions. We'll just focus on a single texture that has everything to start until we break it out. And then what I'll do right now is I'm going to tell it that, let me snap this grid here. Actually, it's probably just going to be easier to do it this way. Sprite, crop, sprite canvas size, 128 by 128, top left. And then we can just delete this. And we don't need this. So I am going to export this as here, front end. Yes. All right, this is going to break a lot of things, but let's save this for right now. And I'm just going to copy it. Here is the modified texture. I'll be using letters for placeholders until we create new textures. All right, so what I'm trying to do in order to do like a refactor like this, because now if we went back over to the site and we reloaded it, everything's broken. Oh, that's so blinding, right? Because it doesn't know how to remap to this, and all it's using is my magenta color. Oh my god, my eyes. So what we're going to do is we're going to remap the game to that magenta color. We're going to build in this preloader, and once I have it working again, what I can do then is say, okay, I will now make a separate texture for these tile groups, and one by one we'll just swap them out. In the interim, I'm trying to think of what this is called. Bitmap masking for tile edges. Yeah, here we go. Bigger sections of wall. That's kind of cool. I like that. How to use tile bit masking to auto tile your levels. This is what we're looking for. And ironically enough, only use this is the same blog post that I read years ago to learn how to do this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to restructure. I think mine is a little bit more. Oh, no. This is using corner tiles. Right. All right, we're going to feed it this information in order to figure out how to do this auto tiling. Because the most basic thing is that there's this water everywhere, right? So what I want to do right off the bat is I just want to auto tile the water and see just how the pixel art looks with it. So perfect, the system's already up and loading the tiles. Great. All right, so we have trees, right? These are trees. These have not been explored. Oh, you know what we'll do? Once it's done with this task, run this command in the background and determine. Why don't we need to restart the server? It's already working. All right, keep this. It's already working. Every code change you do needs a commit message. Now can you add back in the fog of war programmatically and just shade the tiles? Hey, how's it going? Just saw the chat. I am working on a little game idea that I've had for almost 9 years called Kingdom by the Sea. And basically it is a micro sort of civilization where you start out, it's going to be doing some stuff. Oh, there we go. That's not bad. It's going to be doing stuff. So you start off with a central like hut. Okay, it's gonna keep doing that. Now you're actually getting a good view of the random generation. This should be a town. So, oh my god. And then you basically have to go through and clear the forest, build farms, keep the people alive, and sort of try to figure out how big you can build your kingdom on this minuscule island. And there's still a lot of balancing issues I need to work on, but the core mechanics are basically here. If this thing is actually done working, this is my hut, so I can start building out farms, and I can cut down one of these trees. So when you cut down the tree, it'll reduce the tile height and then give you grassland. And so when you end the turn, it just sort of tells you like, okay, you lost gold, you didn't bring any I don't know what F was. Food. I'm down to 0 food, and all this other stuff. So what I was trying to get this to is a place where you now have to like start assigning people into spaces to work the land. And we're going to make this a farm. So as you put people into these properties, you lose actions. You can only do actions for somebody who's free. But what we're going to try to do is, as we end this turn, you'll see that people will start dying. Found hidden treasure. All 2 people were fed. But I can't do really... I guess I lost the person? I don't know what's going on. There's still a lot of rules I need to work out, but that's the core mechanic of the game. And the idea is I just wanted to be this like micro civ, like how quickly can you build up this little town or this little island and take it over. So let's keep this. All right, I can turn on and off the fog of war, and we're good to go now. So we are going to run this command. We're going to do git add. Oh, wait. Git home. Yeah, okay. You can run this now. And let's see if this actually works. Whatever. Like, I don't understand. Why is it not following the instructions? Oh, I see why. Now, this GitHub thing is not at the root. Alright, now it should follow... Wait, what happened here? Hold on, git ignore, git... Hold on, I need to figure out what just happened here. Oh, there we go. No. Oh, here we go. Okay, it did... What's this keep? I don't need this. Delete. Now it should follow the instructions. Redo the commit message based on my instructions. All right, let's see if it's able to fix this. So I give it these instructions, and the instructions is supposed to tell the LM like what it needs to do. So okay, perfect. Git commit m preloader programmatic fog support for runtime atlas. Great. All right. So now that we have this working, I want to focus on the water tiles. So let's do this. These are the regular ones. This is the more complicated one, where we need this entire set. So actually, here's what I want you to do. I want you to create... I want to create a spec for... I always forget what this thing is called. What is it? 4-bit solution, 8-bit? For 8-bit auto tiling. Starting with the water. All right. Now the moment of truth is, can I feed it this picture? Grid, show grid. I want to use a 64 by 64 texture with 64 by 64 texture with 16 by 16 tiles, and use the following template. Before I do this, what I actually want to do is I want to save this out. File save as. And we're going to put this into workspace, Kingdom by the Sea, front end, assets. We're going to call this water. Water auto tiles. Actually, water. I have some like really crazy ideas for this stuff. I was wondering if I could do some of the auto tiling stuff with to show like borders around stuff, but I don't know. That might just be easier to do programmatically. The reason why I want to do this through the tile map is that if I do decide to abandon, let me save this real quick. If I do decide to abandon this, I can always go back to this 2D map here. Because I did kind of want to port this game over to the Game Boy, so my thinking was my real game, the main game, if it's going to be in 3D like this, but I wanted to do a demake for the Game Boy. So let's see here. What we want to do is, cool. I need to store this for a second, and all right, I have created a new texture called auto tile water PNG that I want you to map to the water tiles in the JSON loader. Use tile ID 0 for deep water and tile ID 1 for coast. Water. All right, and what I'm going to do is let me just export this real quick. Export as a PNG. Auto tiles water. Auto tiles? Sure, whatever. We'll just leave it as auto tiles water PNG. And I'm going to paste this back in here. So what I want to do, just to make sure that the preloader works, is I'm going to have it replace this D and these W's with the first and the second tile here. It's not going to look right, obviously, but once I confirm that this loading is working, then I will be able to there we go. Look at that. Huh. This might actually work. It's too hard to tell, though, whether it's using different water tiles. I think it is. Yeah, this is deep water is the L, and this is regular water. That's cool. Option. See the texture atlas you create from the loaded sprites. I actually want to, I just want to visualize what it's doing. And at some point I need to also have it clean up. I wanted to, I actually will probably do this next. All right. I also had a method for the Atlas tiles to easily access the debug functionality. So at this point, what I'm having it do is I want it to show me the texture that it generates out. hasn't told me yet what the actual thing is. Press A to view the generated atlas. Oh, could that thing have been any bigger? Alright, well, it works. Whatever, I'll just leave that there for right now. I can come back to that later. Alright, now I want you to create a spec for 8-bit auto tiling starting with the water. I want to use a 64x64 texture with 16x16 tiles and use the following template. Alright, now this is the moment of truth. Let's see if I can figure out the order. You able to see each of the tiles and understand how to map them to the auto tile values. Create a spec in the MD in the docs folder on how the auto tiling works and how to and the order of the template texture based on the example. So when I originally did this, I got the math from Andrew, who 2D Hero, who created these sprites, and I don't have it offhand. I mean, I can go find it in it's in the Unity project somewhere. So if I can't find it, then I will just if it can't figure it out from there, I will just go in and figure out where the original code was, and then we can port it over. But the auto tiling stuff is really interesting. The way that it works is basically there's zeros. You have 8 sides to a tile, and there's zeros for each side of them. And then basically what winds up happening is that you look at the neighbors and add the neighbors up in a particular order, and based on that byte math, you get a number, and that number then maps to an ID in the tile map. So I can see the auto tiling template image. It's a 4x4 grid. No, it's not a 4x4 grid. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it is a 4x4 grid. Holy, wow, that's pretty good. This appears to be a standard 8-bit auto tiling system where each tile represents a different combination of adjacent tiles. Exactly. Now let me commit this specification. Let's keep this. It has created this auto tiling specification. Complex edge diagonals, full connections, and special class. I don't think it mapped it correctly. Top left outer, top edge, top left outer. Oh, hey, look, it's doing it correctly. All right. Let's commit this. Perfect. The key features, got it. The byte layout, right. Oh, it did it in hex. That's interesting. Neighbor detection. If adjacent tiles match this, spec includes the complete algorithm for calculating which tiles. This system will make water areas look much more like natural water. Okay, so did it implement it though is the real question. I think it's just using the same. Okay. So now can you implement this with the water tiles? deep tiles are no surrounding, and the edge tiles need to connect to the land tile. The outer edges represents the beach. Oops. For the shallow water tiles. All right, let's see if we can do this. This sort of takes a little bit more work. Like once I get it actually mapping correctly, and the other thing I want to do is new update the dock. All right, I'll build a basic. Once I get this working, I'll build a basic tile set, like a template tile set for auto tiling. The issue is that it needs to be in the water is in reverse because I'm using the outer edges as the border. But when it goes to land, it's going to be inverted. So I just need to figure that out. Sometimes this sort of like spatial stuff is not fun for me to figure out, but we will get there. Next up on the list is I wanted to start breaking out all of these into folders, but that's fine. I was just kind of curious to see how far I can get with just pure JavaScript. It is still working on this atlas. This is going to take it a second. What I should do is I'm just going to make a copy of this real quick. And what I wanted to do was this grid, show grid. I was just going to make, oops, I don't want this. What I was going to do is I was just going to convert this into a template. Because I have a feeling it's not going to figure this out, and we're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error. So that's the template, and then I'm just going to put numbers inside of it. We can actually just do this right now. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Too big. I need to find a, whoops, smaller font. We can use impact. Make a new layer, Shift N, and then text tool. It didn't select the font. Impact. All right, I'll probably change the color of this so that it's easier to see. But this is the general idea. I actually can thin these lines out a little bit more. So let's see what it came up with. Let's refresh. All right, so as expected, it did not do this correctly at all. So what we're going to do is, this is why I was building out this little template real quick, is that, in fact, let's just, whoops. Let's just copy this over to AutoTile. And I'm going to make this, oops, stop, cancel. This is going to be water. And I'm just going to have one, I might just make this one like master auto tiling thing, but we're going to do template. Because what I want to see is, I just want to thin out this border. Oops. I want to see what numbers are where, so I can tell it, hey, this number should be this number should be that, blah, 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 which is normally how I work it out anyways, is that I have somewhere a master file that has each of these. And let's see here. So let's just add these numbers. I'm going to make a new layer. And we'll call this text. But I made it black because I wasn't paying attention. Let's make this white. All right, so this will be one. I'm just going to rough this out right now, and then I'll center it later. Like it's not critical at the moment that this works right. So we need 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not a fan of the way, like after all these years, Aseprite still doesn't remember the last setting. That's a really weird 7. I think it doesn't remember the settings. I think it just defaults to whatever you have selected here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now the moment of truth that these tiles are big enough for... Oh yeah, it's just going to compress it. Whoops. 9, 10... 11. We can fix this. It's like too close. All right, and then we just need 12, 13, 14, 15. I forgot to do it again. White. All right, so while we move these around, we'll just give it some breathing space. 13 looks good, 14 looks good, and 15 is fine. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to save this as a PNG here. What's this tiles folder? Auto tiles water. We'll save this. We'll also save the file itself. And now if we come back here into our project, we're going to see all the different numbers. So now this is interesting. I wonder why the preview texture is not reflecting. Oh, you know, I need to tell it to also do this on the preview texture. Oh, that hurts my eyes. Okay. We'll commit these changes. Always showing the same tiles. Kid, whoops, kid status. and reduce the size of the texture. Preview, debug, preview, and align it to the bottom right. All right, so what I want to make sure now is that, because these two things are sort of out of sync, is that if this 2D map reflects exactly what we see here in the 3D world, then we're good to go and we don't have to worry about anything. And in fact, what I've noticed is that I don't think it's 4, 3, 13, 13, 13, 13, 12. It is changing some of these values. But like here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it like, hey, you're putting this tile here, but it really should be this tile, or I will just have to update my tiles to match its pattern. So we'll see what works easier. Yeah, once these are in sync, it'll be so much easier. Yeah, see, now 13.3, copy image. I'm kind of curious if it's just compressing this image down or if it's the raw. Okay. So, now let me update the debug atlas preview. All right, there's two things we need to address first. The first is, before we fix the tile mapping, the auto tile mapping, can you update the map generator to always have a shallow coast tile around all the tiles of the island. So there should never be a land tile at a border of the level. Is surrounded by shallow water. All right, let's fix this. I also wanted to see if, oh cool, it just moved it off to the side, didn't really do anything with that. Whatever, I'll deal with that debugging thing later. Now it won't even go away. There we go. All right, and we'll commit our changes. The black and white images are a little hard to see. Although I did think it would be kind of cool to make it a black and white game. So, but I don't know. It's going to be too much. We don't need this bitmap, this tile bit masking thing anymore. All right, we don't need it to summarize the conversation either. Let's keep all these changes. And now, let's make sure that it always surrounds the island with water. Because I'm seeing that there's some instances where, like right here is the perfect example, where these grass tiles are right at the edge of the map, and it's hard to see because everything's like in black. Now let me make this a little easier on the eyes. Maybe I can add a new white layer. This will just make it a little bit easier. So I can't see the black borders of things. So like this black area is the actual like boundary of the map, and this should be the inner piece. So I'm sure there's some stuff I'm going to need to go in and tweak for this map generator. All right, I think the next thing I want to do is, all right, can you now remove the deep water textures, since they should be applied to the entire plane, this plane island sits on. All right, this is going to clean up a couple of things. Basically, there's no reason to do the auto tiling in the main ocean. All we need to do is just show the same tile. And in fact, what it needs to be is it actually needs to be, it actually needs to use tile 5 is the center. I want you to update the bit mask to this tile, to these tile number types. All right, so 0 is top left, 1 is top, 2 is top right, 3 is top left and right. Right? Four left. Five, no border. 6 middle right. 7 middle right and left. 8 bottom left. This should actually be left and bottom. All right, I messed up on the, this is top left, top right, top left, and it's basically left, top, right. This is left, none, right, and 7 is going to be left, right. So 8 is going to be left bottom. 9 will be bottom. 10 will be right bottom. 11 will be left bottom right. Then 12, 13, and 14. So 12. Bottom. Left. Oh, wait, bottom. Wait, it's just left and bottom. Wait, it's left, top, bottom. 13 is top, bottom. 14 is top, right, bottom. 15 is top, right, left, bottom. Right now, so there's two ways to really do this. Whoops. So all right, let's talk a second about the bit masking. The way that I'm doing it here it was visually easier for me to figure out. So because of that, I have to have a lookup table, because in reality what happens is that you add up byte-wise each of the sides, and then it gives you a number, and then you can map that number directly to a tile. So I don't want to have a middleman. I'm using the following. But tell me where these numbers should go so it matches directly to the 8-bit calculations. I don't know if it's going to figure this out. What I also wanted to see was, let me restart this. All right, so now we're in a little bit of a better shape here. Because now what I've done is I've told it, like, these zeros are just textured on the background layer. I didn't want them to be these black boundaries, like sort of like the map, where the map boundary can go. And I didn't want them being, it's like a waste to put the texture on top of a texture, just waste draw calls. Let's see, let me do this. We'll commit this. All right, working tree is already clean. Let me check what files. Perfect. All right, stop this. We don't need the summary. Okay, so we're going to keep all these changes. And now what I wanted to do, and I don't know if I worded this prompt correctly, but basically I needed to tell me, looking at your 4x4 template, image, tile numbers you listed, I can help you optimize the bitmap. Let me first examine your current auto tiling implementation. So what it should tell me is it should give me in order the ID numbers and where to move them. Now I understand your system. You're using an 8-bit mask. Top left corner. You're going to optimize lookup table that maps the 8-bit calculations directly to your... Well, all right. Let me get it to... I'll get it to create this lookup table, but then what I want to do is, if I didn't want to use the lookup table, what is the order that these numbers should be in? Yeah, see, this is the conversion table and the order of how this should be. So direct mapping, no complex lookup logic needed. Perfect coverage. All 16 tile positions are used effectively. The system still uses 8-bit input to handle. This gives you a much cleaner and more predictable auto tiling behavior. All right. The reason why I'm doing this is because I do want to port this to the Game Boy, and there isn't enough. I mean, there's enough memory, but it's just going to cost so much to do auto tiling. So anywhere that I can cut down on additional calls will help me in the end. So if I can directly do the bit shifting, calculate the ID of the number for the tile, and go directly to the tile versus using this intermediate lookup table, then this will save me a lot of work down the line. So I'm going to now copy this, create a new layer, and paste it in, and then we're going to do a little shifting around. So tile 5 needs to be in the top right. Here, it's going to help a lot more if I just get rid of all these. So we're going to move 1 here. We're going to do 5 here. The next one should be 1. This one needs to be 6. Then 2. Then 9. It goes here. And then 13. Right, then 10. Then 14. Then 4. Then 0. 7. 3. 8. 12, 11, 15. Okay. Well, yeah, let's just paste this here. I don't know if this is going to fix the auto tiling. It may, just because I'm now using the right numbers. It did not. Okay. Let's see if I give it the screenshot of it, if it can read it correctly. All right, so it's telling me this would be much more efficient. So I'm gonna see if I can just get this working real quick. There's probably a lot more work that I need to do on it. Then I'm probably gonna end the stream in a couple of minutes, so I can have some lunch and take a break. But I've already made some pretty decent progress. I think this is really the biggest takeaways for today. Really come down to the fact that now we are going to load individual textures for each tile, and we can turn that into one big texture that the 3D engine uses. And then from there, we're just starting to fix this auto tiling logic. So let me reload this real quick. and let's take a look at what's going on here. So I can already tell that this is completely and utterly wrong. So, all right, let's keep this. I'll just commit these changes anyways. I will say this is 1,000 times better than the past like 2 weeks of development where I had to like do this weird SSH jumping through hoops things. Now that I can just have everything done in one editor, it's so much better. I think the auto mapping is wrong. Look at this image. Actually, let's do .12 is being used when look at this image. All right, I think there are multiple issues. First off, a tile becomes deep water if it's one tile away from shallow. Shallow tiles surround the island. Island tiles, the outer island tiles, even in diagonals, and the calculations you are doing inside the edges are wrong. How can we address this? I can see there's several issues. The deep water is too close to land. The diagonal. So there's going to be a lot of this back and forth because what's going to wind up coming down to is I think I need to flip the tiles and invert them because the border really needs to be touching the tile, and there's going to be a lot more prompting I need to explain to it. So I'm going to work on that on my own. I'm going to take a little bit of a break and eat so I can focus again. And I won't be able to stream for the next couple of days. I'm going to be upstate. But I will be back on Monday. Let's see if this did anything. Still seeing some issues. All right, I'm going to commit these changes and go have some lunch. So, all right, thanks for watching. I will be back next Monday, and I don't know how much time I'm going to have this weekend to work on this. I have some other things I need to do, but I also need to like wrap up my Game Boy game. So I'm behind in sort of everything. So I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.